you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome. We will call the council meeting to order. We'll start with approval of the regular agenda. Mark, do you know whether, well, there's Zach. Zach, Mark had said that you might want to take your matters off and defer them to another day. Is that on or off?
Right, because Brian was out of town last week, so they hadn't been reviewed by the city attorney.
So that would be items 12 and 13. I'd make a motion to amend the agenda by removing those items. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. Moving on then to the approval of the consent agenda, I would like to, again, I'll make a motion this time to amend the consent agenda to include approval of the quarterly financial statement that was inadvertently left off. You all have copies of the quarterly financial statement. Is it satisfactory with the council to add that for approval tonight? And if so, could I have a motion, please?
I would move that we add the budget to the agenda.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. So then, with regard to the consent agenda itself, we have approval of the minutes from the April 7, 2025 meeting, approval of the April 21st warrants in the amount of $132,778.86, approval of payroll in the amount of $43,920.71, and approval of the quarterly financial statement. Anyone have any questions you'd like to ask on that? Any of those items? If not, can I have a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
I move we approve the amended consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Consent agenda is approved. Ladies and gentlemen, we try to have 2 periods during the meeting in which persons can make comments to the council. The first one is coming up now. Generally speaking, we want to try to limit that to items that are on the agenda, something we're going to be talking about tonight that you need to get your 2 cents worth in before we vote on it. The other later at the end of the meeting is just a general, anything somebody has on their mind. So we are at that portion of the agenda, and I'm going to immediately violate it because we have Darren Neufeld here from the engineering firm, and Darren, I know you were just going to make a quick report on the 2 major projects we got going on.
We didn't have a pay estimate on the agenda this time, so normally I'd give an update during, when we were looking at that, but I just want to give you an update on the 2 projects we have going on right now. Number 1 is the airport project. They finished that crack repair a week ago today. And so we actually opened the airport back up for air traffic last Tuesday morning, so it's fully functional again. And we'll have a pay app in another week. I need to talk to Janet about a few things, or 2 weeks, I'm sorry, your next agenda, or next meeting we'll have a pay app for that one. And the reimbursement from KDOT Aviation. Second project, Locust and Elm Drainage Project. If you get a chance, Locust has been closed for about 2 weeks now. If you get a chance, if you drive by, if you want to walk down there and take a look, the concrete wall, the new head wall is completely done. The box down into the creek is done and complete. And today, earlier this afternoon, they poured the curb on that section. So literally after today, the only thing that will be left up there on the Locust is to reset the brick out in the street and then put the metal railing on. The metal railing is going to be built in place as of right now. That's their plan. So he'll probably be coming in about another week or 2 to build the metal railing. When they do that, we'll have probably half that street closed at a time, but not the whole thing like we do now. Starting next Monday, we will have Elm Street closed. And that's the other reason I really wanted to get here and kind of get it out to the public as best we could. But as of right now, Monday or Tuesday, we will close Elm Street. Probably. It could be another day or two after that, depending on how they start, but that's the plan. And if you've seen those big, huge black culverts setting behind our office down there, that's what those are for. Those are the pipes that are gonna go under Elm Street and then up into the creek area. So, just wanted to give you an update on what's going on there. It's probably gonna be about 3 weeks closure. We'll try to get the street portion done faster, so we don't have it closed as long, but just with weather and everything else, I can't guarantee timing on anything. So, mostly to the law enforcement and then also to emergency services, just wanted everybody for sure to know that Elm Street will be closed. You have to use Lawrence. And possibly at times not use Locust, but we'll try to have it open at least one-way traffic at all times.
Darren, back to the airport project.
Yes.
And Mark said something, and it's possible that he actually was repeating something you said, or maybe he got it from the pilots out there, but my impression was, or what I had heard was that they were liking it, that they thought that fix, well, not fix, but that repair worked well.
It's definitely it's not like a new runway by any means, because it's no different than when you drive down Main Street after our guys do a seal project. The cracks are still there, the bumps are still there, but they're just not, we're gonna lose a landing gear by using it. So you still, if you drive it in a vehicle, which we've done, driven at fairly high speeds to try to see where they're at and if we had any really bad ones. No, there are not any real bad ones. You can tell there's still a bump there where all the cracks were, but it's like when you're driving down the highway and interstate and you feel a ka-thunk, ka-thunk. That's what's out there now. Not the fear of, oh, am I gonna lose a tail gear in this crack because it's 6 inches wide. All of that's repaired.
So it's like driving in Missouri then, is that what you're saying?
Try not to name any names. So yes, and we were able to repair all the cracks on the runway that were 1 inch and greater with the project. So you'll see on the pay estimate we bring in a couple weeks, we did overrun slightly, but we worked with Mark ahead of time and he gave me an idea of how much money we kind of had set aside in the airport fund that we'd be able to use to work with. So we felt it was better to go ahead and do about another 400, 500 feet of cracks to get all those that were that 1 inch and bigger done, so we're not up against this soon. We're also, though, waiting on KDOT Aviation to release their grants for the year. They were supposed to back in March, have not yet, to find out if we got the follow-on to do more of that on the apron and taxiway. So hopefully we'll get more and do more again. But no, the company that did it did a very good job.
Anything for Darren? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any other comments that do relate to tonight's agenda? Seeing no one responding to that, we will move on. Kristen Peterson, you want to make an introduction?
Yes. I'd like to welcome Alicia Stuplik here to our museum here at Marion Historical Museum as our new director. We had interviewed her and she's a good candidate, and I'm just here to show her off, basically, and welcome her and her husband there and her child to Marion. So,
Alicia, welcome. Christian did tell you that new appointments always have to sing their high school fight song. Your husband Ed, and what's the little guy's name? JP. And he was wearing a John Deere shirt, which we got at John Deere dealership in Marion, so that's good. Welcome aboard. I know, talking to Christian, they're excited, and we wish you luck and look for great things.
Thank you. Yeah, the board has a really exciting vision for the museum, so I'm really looking forward to being on the team and seeing what we can do with it.
a lot of new events hopefully will be coming, and we'll try to be open between May and October, and we'll try to squeeze in maybe a couple events in those months, and then we'll kind of pre-plan for next year as well.
Well, welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark? fireworks permits.
Mayor and council members, you have an application from Libby Nelson operating as NF Explosions at 601 West Main, and she had brought in her insurance certificate, and after the agenda went out, we received the sales tax license, so everything's in order, and we recommend its approval.
Any questions for Mark? I'll move approval.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously. Dwayne? I told you we'd get to you by 5:20 and it's
No.
5:10.
We want to frazzle that.
Oh, who'd I jump over?
Fire chief.
Now,
Oh, I don't want, sorry, Dwayne. Sit back down. No, I'm not jumping over the fire chief for you. Chris, would you come up, please?
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Killo. I'm the fire chief here in Marion. I presented Mark a contract. The agenda should say wild land instead of wildlife.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a contract that would be between this department and other departments in this area. Have them trying to create a task force that can go out of county to other counties to help them in times of critical need, and that would be what that contract is. And in my mind, the biggest holdup is in the contract with the state fire marshal is the fire marshal is willing to reimburse us for the trucks and people that we send. And what I'm asking is that the money that comes back in, instead of going into the general fund, if there's a way that we can put that money into a fund for any maintenance on the trucks and reimburse the personnel so that when they have to miss work, leave their jobs to go out of county, because normally a deployment is anywhere from, would be normally 12 hours or 24 hours, and it could be up to 72 hours. So I'm asking if we could get these people reimbursed so frankly, they're willing to go.
Okay, I'm confused.
Okay?
So they're gonna get reimbursed personally from the state for some of this?
No, the contract, okay.
They're just gonna get their normal, whatever
Okay,
Marion
so
pays?
if we don't sign this agreement and they go,
Yeah,
they'll get $25 for a run,
okay,
which is what we have now.
okay.
What I'm asking for is the contract is gonna reimburse, but the way I understand it is any money coming in must go back into the general fund.
Yeah, the reimbursement you're talking about is reimbursement, I guess, to the city or to the fire
Right,
department? Right,
to the
okay.
fire
All right,
department.
fair enough, go ahead.
And I'm asking if there's any way we can set that up to have that go back into maintenance on trucks, reimburse the personnel. The training we had done out at the county lake, the state fire marshal was there, and I spoke with him about this issue, and he said that there is a way to do it. He didn't give me any details, and I hope y'all will agree, but if not, I guess I'll ask him to contact y'all so he can, help you set it up, figure out how to do it.
Chris, would you mind giving me a contact? I'll email him and see how he recommends.
Okay,
If that works, and we can bring it back for approval in a couple of weeks if it works.
Well, I'm in favor of the request personally, but I don't know about where other council members are. Anyone have questions of Chris?
I have a question. I'm in favor as well, but how do you go off reimbursement? Is it gonna be a certain amount straight across for everybody, or is it gonna be based on how much they're getting paid at their civilian job? How will you do that?
there's a schedule that FEMA normally reimburse people, like a certain type of truck would get so much money an hour, a certain rank or qualification of person would get so much an hour. If I remember right, the state has made it just so much per truck, but you have to have so many people on a certain type of truck.
Okay.
And then, so if, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly that the truck we would send, which would be a type 4 with 2 personnel, that would be $200 an hour is what the reimbursement would be. And that's from portal to portal. So the second we leave the barn down here, leave the department here, from then to the time we get back, whether we're working, sleeping, whatever, that's $200 an hour.
Okay,
So,
okay.
So those funds, that reimbursement for the whatever it's supposed to cover, equipment use, all that, would then, your preference would be that it would be placed into a fund designated for use by the fire department?
yes,
And then if you wanted to use it, you would come to the city administrator and say, hey, we want to use it?
okay, yes.
Was
Yeah.
that, well,
Yeah,
okay, did
yeah,
I
that-
throw you a
that's reasonable
curveball?
enough. I mean, yes.
Okay.
We set up a little fund, we can repair the trucks, we can pay pay personnel out of it. And the recommended amount was for firefighters we would send would be $20 an hour is what they would get. So if they were gone 12 hours, they'd get $240, which is nothing. You're not gonna get rich on that, but
Yeah.
that would cover a day's pay normally.
And we're saying that would come out of the $200 that
Yes,
the state reimburses us for?
yes.
Okay. Do we need to approve this agreement
Yeah,
at the
I mean,
same time, and then also have the,
I think we do, that was
Right.
my understanding.
Yes.
You
we
agree?
have to approve the agreement and then also figure out a way to try and get those funds
Yes.
back? Okay. One question I had when I was reading through this, on page 4, it says that the cooperator agrees that any staff members they deploy will have successfully completed the following minimum training requirements, and lists 5 different training requirements. Have our guys all gone through that, or the guys that would go have gone
The
through
guys
that?
that would go have,
Okay.
have completed
Okay.
that.
I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't gonna be something that hung us up for reimbursement or
No.
something there, okay.
And I still have a few, the wildland hose, I have some, but I don't have all of it. But that's not really expensive hose, so I still need to purchase that.
So we've never had an agreement like this or anything like this?
No,
in
we
place
have,
in-
no, we have mutual aid agreements with every department in the county, and we also provide mutual aid with Chase County.
And Chris, this was kind of a new program, wasn't it?
This is a very new program. This is like, we're the guinea pigs for this. The state fire marshal has put in this task force program in Marion County, is the guinea pig for that. I don't know how many of you know Lester Kaiser. No, probably most of you do. He's the one spearheading this, and so each department that's going to be part of that task force needs to get a contract signed for the state fire marshal so they can take part.
I noticed it also has certain limitations on the amount of coverage of insurance you're supposed to have. Did you check that we meet those requirements on all the different,
We haven't done that yet, but we will.
that'd be the only thing to double check too.
Any other questions?
So are we approving the agreement tonight, or do we wanna see the,
Just asking.
No, we just want to introduce it
looking at it
tonight,
and then-
I'll get with Chris, and we'll contact the fire marshal's office, get some clarification on the reimbursements, any laws that
Okay.
might be.
Yeah.
that we need to follow.
I think Chief Kello came in to Mark's office the other day. I happened to be there, and we had a nice talk about this. And I think you want to do it, but
Yes.
the question was, can we structure it so that reimbursement can go back toward
Sure.
the fire department? So, Mark, next meeting?
Yeah, well, I'll get with Chris and we'll get a contact and see what we can find out.
Okay. Would you mind coming back in 2 weeks?
That'd be fine.
Okay. Anything else from anyone? Thank you. Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
Totally unrelated, but not really, because you're the fire chief and it's about the fire department. How many people do we have that are on the volunteer fire department?
Right now, we're at 17.
17.
We've had several get off, and I haven't replaced any of them yet. I have something else. The tree dump, the way I understand it, Kansas state law is you're not allowed to burn brush in the month of April.
Where's Landon? Or grab the microphone.
Give him a second, he's gotta turn it on.
That's Zach's job.
No.
Gene
Gene's
has-
gotta plug it in.
Oh, got it over there.
Right here beside me, bud.
There you go.
So I know the issue of, I think I can answer part of that. Unless something changed from last week, the city has not ignited any fires at the tree dump in the month of April. But I know you checked into that. Would you speak to that a little bit, Landon?
What you said is correct. We didn't physically go light anything. We sent an individual down to push it up. You couldn't drive through there anymore. And the pile, that pile's been hot for who knows how many years. And it did happen to light the brush that was pushed on fire, but no, we did not intentionally light it.
I understand. The new burn resolution in Marion County states that any brush that's burned, there's a 72-hour window between when you burn the brush and if you know bad weather is coming. You can't burn in that time period. So that's the new burn resolution for Marion County. I thought the problem I see is that pile has not ever been cleared away. It's just piled and piled and piled for years. So we could have a typhoon come through here and it would still be hot underneath. It's just.
My knowledge of burn pile science is extremely limited. But I've lived in other small towns that had burn piles. Do other places do something different than what we do, to your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay.
I've talked to some of the people over at Hillsboro, and they have a tree dump also. And they clear it out, haul it all the way, and then every like fourth or fifth time they light it, then they clear all that out, and then it's fresh, flat ground again. So there's no hot embers left. And they do not, I asked them specifically, they do not burn brush in the month of April.
Where would they dispose of that? That's probably a silly question, but where do they haul it off to then?
You know, I asked that question myself and I got a vague answer. So if we're going to decide we need to do that, I think some more research would be needed.
Right.
So as I sit here and think about what you're saying, my first thought was, boy, hauling that off would be a chore. But you're saying once you did that, you got it down to ground zero, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That then you just don't let it get that big again.
Right, you haul it off every, twice a year, 3 times a year, whatever. And then.
We have hauled that off numerous times, and we are now out of room in the area that we have hauled it off to. What's there now is a year's worth.
Where do you haul it off to?
Just back behind the lagoons there.
Okay.
And there's just a stockpile back there, and that area is full, and not quite sure where we're gonna go next.
Mark, can you make a note, and let's put this on the agenda for our, well, not 2 weeks,
Okay.
but it could be.
Could
But
be.
I was gonna say on our next study session.
Okay.
So we can talk about it, get some information.
I'll check with Matt and just see, I'll get background on what they're doing in Hillsboro.
Yeah. Maybe we can haul it to Hillsboro.
Out in the county, if their rules are different.
Boom, instant solution.
I mean, once you haul it though, and you make a new pile, wouldn't that new pile get hot as well?
Well, but we're not gonna let it get as big.
You won't have the mass.
You just have like a bunch of like
You
little,
won't have the mass. You can spread it out and then it will burn away much quicker.
I mean, it's a lot more staff hours,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're gonna,
think. It seems like it would be,
you're gonna invest time and money into it.
yeah.
Typically, I would think on any small pile they put in there, it's not all gonna burn. So, I mean, then you're gonna have some stuff that didn't burn up, so do they pull that out and put it in the next pile, or haul it off and bury it?
If it's out, you can haul it away. I mean, if it's
But
out,
if it didn't all burn up, is that
Yeah.
kind of?
that's what I'm saying. If
We
it's
don't
it's
have a way
out,
to do it right now,
Say
to
that
separate things. We don't have a way of doing that. So our
Gotcha. 'Cause
pile
we
out
had
back
talked about
that we have hauled things into, it's unusable dirt. It'll always be unusable because it's just so full of random wood.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's the growing number of things we need to deal with that wasn't here when we started the meeting. Thank you, Chris. No, I appreciate your alerting us to that, and we'll have to make some decisions about it.
Okay.
See you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now you're 5 minutes later than I told you it was going to be.
I want to thank you guys for putting me on the agenda. This is the Windy Hat. I'm Dwayne McCarty, and I was on the board, the original Florence Grand Prix, did all the paperwork, the red tape stuff, the waivers and insurance stuff and all that. But what we're asking is her and her father, Rocky, have some land north of the Pizza Hut, about a third of a mile north of the Pizza Hut, where we would like to put on a hare scramble motorcycle race. The hare scramble is basically through the woods, up hills, down ravines. Everybody starts out in a class at the same time, and we think it would be a good event. We think that it would attract a lot of people to Marion, which would buy things from our merchants, gas, food, alcohol, and Dollar General, Carlson's, and stuff like that. There's room out there for campers, plenty of room. It'll be self-contained, and we'll have signs that nobody's allowed out with an illegal motorcycle, because we don't want Zach and Aaron dealing with illegal motorcycles running around town. So we'll have that safe, self-contained. I think about 25, 30 years ago, it used to be county, and then the city annexed it in town, probably for the tax money off of the quarry, and that's how it got into the city limits. But we don't really know what you guys want, or if there's anything. It'll be all on private property, but it is in the city limits. Unlike Florence, where we was racing on other people's private property and the city property, this will all be contained in the areas there north that Rocky and Head owns. So, and we also, once we get the trails made, we'll probably, Wendy and me has talked about maybe having nature trail walks where you have a membership and sign a waiver certain months of the year, because there's certain months that'll be used, rented out for hunting, and bicycle trails. There's a lot of other things that can be done that would help the city of Marion out, or something to do. And but the first thing I wanted to get with you to see if there's any roadblocks of something that you guys know that we can't do this because it is actually in the city limits, or if not, we just need the blessing, and then we will put together a plan of when it will be, probably about, what, second week October-ish, somewhere around there?
Well, yeah, toward the end.
Somewhere, so it doesn't mess with Labor Day, it doesn't mess with the Florence Grand Prix. It's kind of event, plus it's a lot cooler, and a lot of the riders like the 40 and 50 degree weather than the 90 degree weather. Most of these races anymore are family orientated. There's nobody causes trouble, you know, and it's just a big family camp out, and then the dads or brothers or daughters or mothers race. So
This, Dwayne, and I think maybe Wendy was there too, brought this up months ago, and we talked about it. It was there. I heard no objections from anyone. What I guess, Dwayne, I would, and I'm pretty sure you probably already have this or are planning to do it, but I'll speak for myself. I see no problems with this. I think it could be a good thing, as you said. It's something else that would bring people to town and all that. But I'd want to know how you plan to address restrooms, traffic control,
Right.
medical needs of people. I'm assuming you'll have, you know, some sort of, it doesn't have to be a license or a certified law enforcement officer, but some kind of security, that sort of thing.
yeah, the restrooms will just have to rent porta potties, like in Florence. It's a big expense, around $4,000, but we bring in about 20 or 30 portable potties. Law enforcement, it should be kind of like Hardee's, where law enforcement's never called out there because it's self-contained. It's not on private property. You're not going to have the people complaining that somebody's riding their motorcycle on my front yard.
But if two guys get in a fight, you've still got an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So far, what's the third year in Florence, there's not been any problems like that. I think there's more complaints on people riding illegal motorcycles down the road and noise and stuff like that. I will get with Marcy, the emergency director, on event plan, what she expects. Just like Florence, I will get with Sheriff Sawyer, let him know this event's going on. I will get with the chief, Zach. I will get with the Marion Fire Department, just so they know, the emergency medical service, the EMTs. Just like Florence, we put a plan together. Marcy looks it over. Yeah, this is great, this is great, this is great. Because there's a lot of red tape. We'll have property insurance, but we'll also have American Motorcycles Association, AMA, where each rider kind of pays for a membership that goes into an insurance that covers if a spectator got hurt or property, which there wouldn't be no property there getting hurt. But like in Florence, if somebody goes off the track and runs into the side of a building and goes into the living room, then you got to have something to cover for that. There'll be waivers for motorcycles, riders to sign, and believe me, I spent 6 months every day on the Florence one of all this red tape, so I kind of know what I need to do there and who I need to talk to and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we'll have an emergency management plan with Marcy, because we got to worry about weather, tornadoes, where people's going to go. So there's a lot of things like that we will put together a plan. But I guess my main thing is there an objection, because it is in the city limits, to have a motorcycle event like that? And if you don't think there is, then I'll put together a plan, and somewhere time this summer, when I get it all put together, because I got a lawyer friend that helps me with this stuff, and we'll put together so you guys can kind of read it over and say, yeah, this all looks great, or this needs to change, or this needs to change. So.
Council?
I won't have any objection to the idea in general. So move forward and make sure there's no issues. The race itself would take place all on that property. Would
Yes.
go off that property, wouldn't
No.
be going out city limits.
There is one chance, if it's really muddy, we may need to use the county road to the east, which nobody runs on it, but we may have to go up on that to eliminate a low area that could be kind of underwater. But hopefully in October, we're past that part, other than some light rain. But that's, I will go through with Sharon, with the zoning commission, to get all them event permits and all that, permission to close that road if needed. But that, everything else will be on the private property.
Would it be a one-day race, like a two-day event with a one-day race? Is kind of the
Yeah,
time frame?
probably people come in Saturday, and then Sunday would be the race. And we also had, Wendy had an idea of maybe having a vintage motorcycle show, where people could maybe, could get with Margot or whatever, maybe line up a bunch of vintage motorcycles in the city park or something to give people kind of a thing to do. She's planning on maybe having some live entertainment out there for, for things for people to do. But, it's probably something we can build off of, and maybe each year add something to it, and if it works great, we're kind of thinking of maybe a spring race and a fall race. Just depends on how this works out. It's gonna take a little bit of money to get this thing going. So hopefully we'll get some sponsors and stuff, and go from there. So.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Bring us a plan. I
Okay.
think, I don't see any, I did, what?
I don't think we have any zoning issues. I would remind you, you're probably gonna deal with me, not Sharon, because it's city. And I think when we looked at this before, Brian, did we decide that there was kind of a difference between a special event, a one-time deal, and something that's ongoing? That's my only question, is if there's a difference there.
We didn't decide anything.
Yeah, I know, we didn't get far enough.
Yeah.
How is this really any different than Chingawassa Days or Old Settlers Day?
I think the question comes down to, the one-time event is one thing, the weekend, versus if you open it up more as a public park, and what the plan looks like, and how that looks.
yeah.
So those are really two different components.
Right, I'm sorry, Dwayne, I thought we were talking about the event and that your future plans would be something.
Right,
in the
nature
future.
trail or something.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we want to get the event going first, and then we can work on getting the city's blessing to open up a nature trail or whatever, a hiking trail or bicycle trail or whatever that we kind of discussed about.
Go ahead.
The trail will be wide enough to accommodate horseback, mountain bikes, people. It'll be built, when it's built, it will be built for future use.
If I'm riding my bike, I don't want to follow the horse.
Got to pop a lot of wheelies.
They have to carry big bags.
Okay, fair enough. So, yeah, I guess that's a good point. We're talking about the event, and
Right.
anything else would be dealt with down the
The
road.
event's got to go first, and then we'll have the winter time to work on the other stuff to see how it goes.
I
but-
think, at this point, I don't see anybody objecting. Get us your plan, and
Okay.
I think we'll try to work with you.
Okay.
But if Florence gave you 6 months' worth of red tape, I want to make sure we do 7. But
Now Florence is a little more complicated, because A, city, B, other private property.
yeah, right
yeah.
through town.
Yeah, that was something, so. Yeah, this should be, and like I said, we'll self-contain it, we'll have signs up, no unauthorized motorcycles past this point. We'll announce, the waivers we'll have, that if you don't have a tag on your bike and insurance, you gotta stay on this property, you can't go past this property line, because we don't want a bunch of idiots in town causing trouble, for Zach and Aaron, and then ruin it for us either.
Sure.
I don't want any idiots out there.
Yeah, we don't want no idiots. But most of the guys that ride,
That sounds like a
will-
quote I don't want no idiots. Is that
most of the people that ride will self-police themselves, because these events are really special to them, and they pretty well self-police their stuff to make sure problems don't happen, so.
Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you back in here.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Dwayne.
you.
Mark, were you going to speak to the grant and the other item that you
Yeah.
had Garrett Nordstrom?
Yeah, I might
on?
mention that Garrett called today. His child came home from daycare with strep throat, so he had strep throat and his wife had strep throat. So hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll put him back on there. And he sounded pretty bad.
So we're just passing
Yes.
items 10 and 11, okay? James, we're to you with regard to dangerous structures.
I've heard it.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let's see here. All right, there we go. I think I can see that now. All right, so this dangerous structures, it's been going very well for the things that we're looking at tonight. All owners were notified about tonight, about asking for a resolution to set a hearing date for August the 4th, okay? Some have responded and some did not, okay? And at this time, the Dangerous Structures Committee had selected 15 structures altogether, and 3 have been demolished so far. 1 is currently being demolished, and 1 has a building permit to repair. And we had to narrow down to these 6 for tonight. And I also would like to mention that the hospital also demolished a house down there near the hospital. It was a property that was under violation for environmental, for the yard and stuff like that. And the owner went ahead and sold it to the hospital, and they demoed all that out of there. So tonight, I'm asking for a resolution on these properties here. This would be 120 West Santa Fe. And let's see. It's not pulling up. Well, let's see. Gene, can you help me here? What's going on? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is 120 West Santa Fe here. This is the front of the house. The property itself is 25 foot wide. That house is 19 foot wide. Runs through the half a block there. The porch is one of the big items on this here. It's dilapidated. The house is unsecure. Windows are missing out of it. The roof is in bad shape. I'm sure that it's leaking in various places. Decaying, falling apart. There's some more of the porch problems. There's no foundation underneath this here. I think I got one more view of that foundation. This is actually the neighbor's driveway right here. And as you can see, it's just kind of sitting there on the ground.
Are any of the ones you're going to be showing us, I know they're not all houses, but are any of them occupied?
Yes, but they're garages out back. They're not really the house itself.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This is unoccupied. This is owned by Scott Fisher, who lives in Hillsborough. This is the garage out back. It's full of stuff, I suspect from the house or for the house, I don't know. There was carpet and things like that. The garage has holes in the roof on both sides of it. Okay. And I think that was all the photos for this one here. The next property, are there any questions on this property? Okay. Not following up here. Anyway, 202 East Main. If I can't get the photos to pull up, then we'll just move on here.
By the way, Councilman, Mark and I talked to Lloyd Davies earlier today with regard to improving our ability to have someone show up and do this and get everything pulled up here and have it simultaneously appearing on your screens, which Lloyd tells me is doable, so hopefully that'll be the way we do it in the future.
So 202 East Main, the issues are on the back side of the building, and I've been kind of tracking this here building since I come to town back in 2022. I've had photos from it from 2022, the summer of 2022, and I can see some substantial movement going on in the structure there in the back of it. The two side walls, to me, have the appearance of moving outward. And so I put this on here at the last minute after my inspection last week on this here. It was one that had been selected by the Dangerous Committee, but we tried to narrow it down to 5, but we wound up putting this back on. It is owned by the Walton State Bank, and they're aware of the situation on this here bank, on this building here. Any questions on this one? The next one is 314 South Grant Street. There is a garage attached to a building. I'm trying to think of the name of the guy that owns that building there. He has the campers and stuff out back there.
Darrell Brewer.
Darrell Brewer. It's attached to his business. It's owned by the neighbors there. It's attached to his business, and the garage is totally fallen in, and something needs to be demoed or repaired. I didn't speak with this owner, but they did call and said that they plan to try and repair it. I don't know if that's a possibility, but, you know, if the walls they're cinder block, so if the structure is stable enough, they could put new trusses on it. 516 South 3rd Street, there are 2 garages and a small shed on this property. The small shed butts right up to the daycare fence right there. There's a window right there, accessible through the fence. There's a door that's open on the little shed. The roof's all rotted, falling in. And then the next structure is a garage sitting there in the alley also, and it has holes enough through the roof that you can see plumb through the building. All right. And then there's another structure on the front side of 3rd Street that has a lot of metal roofing that is not fastened on it properly, and it is actually blowing off. There's a piece that tried to blow off, a couple pieces that tried to blow off recently over into the daycare side of the property over there in the neighbor's yard. That is owned by Loretta Looney out of Florence, Kansas. The next property that I'm asking for a resolution on is 529 South Roosevelt. There's a garage down there. This is across from the hospital on the corner there. It's a great big house. It was probably a really nice house at one time. And in fact, it probably could be a really nice house. There's a garage out back, though, that has holes in the roof, and it appears to be leaking on all 4 sides. The roof is actually falling in. They've made an attempt to put metal roofing on it, but it is not complete. And so I've asked for this one right here, too, to be put on there. 1002 East Nickerson. This one's owned by, and that last one at 529 South Roosevelt, the Floyd Myers, him and his family do live in the big house there. That is occupied.
It's not attached to the house, though, correct?
No, it is not attached. It sits in the backyard. And I believe there is someone living at 516 South 3rd in the mobile home there, in the manufactured home there. 1002 East Nickerson Street, there's a shed in the back by the alley. It's owned by Leroy and Montana Dandler out of Willow Point Road, Bel Air. I've not had any response from him. I usually do not get much response from Mr. Dandler. We mow his yard on a regular basis there, so it's a pretty small shed, but it's a process we have to go through to have it removed.
Does he pay for the mowing, or does it get assessed to the property?
It gets assessed.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions of James with regard to the identified properties? So the request tonight, if I understand correctly, is for the city to allow or permit a resolution or authorize a resolution setting a hearing date to put the people on notice and start the clock ticking. Is that correct?
Yes, to have a hearing on August the 4th. It would be a show cause hearing as to why it should not be demolished, repaired, okay? And then after that hearing, you guys will make a decision on what needs to be done with that structure. And then you'll set forth your order that night, and you usually give them so many days to demolish it or repair it. And they have, in any time from now until then, they can do whatever needs to be done to take care of this situation before that date.
August 4, did I hear that right? Is that, or did I misunderstand something you said?
Yes, August the 4th.
Okay. We need I assume we need a vote on that,
Do you put it to August 4th or the resolution?
the resolution.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Is there, anyone have any of these particular properties that you want to pull out? No? Okay. Then I will make the motion.
If I remember right, so do you need the resolution number tonight?
It's on there.
Yeah,
The 2503, okay.
gotta get it back up here, though. What'd you say it was, Tim?
25-03.
25-03. I will move passage of Resolution 25-03 to set a hearing date of August 4, 2025, with regard to these properties that are being proposed as dangerous structures. Is that good enough? Okay. Tim, did you second?
Nope, I did.
Kevin seconds. Discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Thank you, James.
Thank
you. Mark?
Mayor and council, we included in your 2025 budget a 5% across the board adjustment for the city employees. I know last time it came up, should you break that down between a cost of living and a merit pool? I think that's something I would look at in the future, but for this year, just, since I'm here part-time, just the circumstances, I'd recommend you do the across the board 5%, and it's included in the budget.
Questions of Mark? Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the 5% pay raise across the board for this year as proposed.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Unanimous approval. Margot, we'll start with you. Anything? You have your microphone?
Yeah, I got it.
Would you please hand it to someone else?
Love it. We have the Board of Zoning Appeals has a public hearing at noon on Wednesday for a request for a variance for a garage on Elm Street. Nothing really contentious about that, but that's going on. We've had some stuff going on in the building. Christian and Gerald have been doing some work in the ballroom for us. We've got a nice railing up in the balcony that's now safe and high enough that little children can't propel themselves off of there. And we're getting some cabinets up on the stage for the tablecloths. So if anybody's a good folder, we need some folders in a few days. So that's it, unless you got questions.
Thank you. Well, anyone have questions of Margot? Okay. You don't get to talk, James. Chief?
Nothing from the police department really. We're taking the new patrol car tomorrow to get graphics put on. But other than that, we've got all of the equipment in now, so we'll just, once we get the graphics put on tomorrow, then we'll start putting it together.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Stephen, are you?
Nothing for me.
Jason?
Let's see, 2 weeks ago, we were able to, with the help of pretty much the entire staff drain our primary basin at the water treatment plant and get it good and cleaned out and take a look at some things we needed to look at and remove some things we needed to remove. Other than that, just kind of gearing up for the summer production and all that that entails.
I understand Mark came out for that. Did he help or hurt?
He was a huge help.
I had a quick question. Now, if I remember, are there two basins and you just use the other basin while you drain the old
No,
one, or is it?
We take the plant completely down when we do that, but there is a secondary basin as well.
Okay.
Thank you. But yeah, there's two, a primary and a secondary.
It just gets done
but
quick
when
enough.
when we take those down, we cease production altogether.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Becky, welcome. Nice to see you here. Do you anything that you're reporting on Janet's behalf or on your own?
Well, I hope she's having a great time.
Mark.
One thing I'd like to mention, a couple Saturdays ago, the hospital experienced an electric problem, and we received a note from Alex saying, thank electric crews, Stephen and his crews, for coming out and helping solve the problem on a Saturday night. And I think it was actually on their side, but I think we were able to help and work with them. So he just sent a note saying deeply appreciated.
And maybe we all saw that email, but I think it was heartfelt from Alex, the hospital administrator, and it was Saturday night. So, I mean, not to say that Friday night wouldn't have been just as important, but you're taking people on their weekend to come in and work on it. So, good job.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Do they, I assume they have generator backup?
Yeah, but it only ran half of it, and they couldn't get a hold of their electrician. So we stayed and tried to walk them through as much as we could.
Thank you. It's
Thank
awesome.
you for doing that.
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
Nothing here?
Nope.
Sorry. Don't have much to talk about tonight.
At this point, I'm going to move that we adjourn into executive session for a period of 25 minutes to consult with an attorney for the city that would discuss privileged information subject to attorney-client privilege. Would ask that Mark McInerney, Brian Bina, and Scott Ufford join the council in that executive session. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, Mayor, Jennifer Hill is going to attend by phone as well.
Oh,
So,
I was not aware of that. Thank you. So I'd like to amend my motion to include Jennifer Hill. Who seconded that?
That was me.
You okay with the amendment? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Unanimous passage. So, 25 minutes, yeah. Session, exiting the executive session. All parties that appeared previously are present at this time. I would note that the collective will is to go back into executive session, at least that's my impression, for a period of 10 minutes. So at this time, I will move to adjourn back into executive session for a period of 10 minutes to consult with an attorney for the city, privilege information, attorney-client relationship, and Mr. Bina, Mr. Ufford, and Ms. Hill appearing by phone with us. Do I have a second to that?
And March too.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Mark, yeah. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We will go into executive session and end that at it's 6:24. We'll end it at 34. Thank you.
You walk back in.
Margot was worried that somebody with a key stuck around because she left and the door's not locked.
You're getting a little feedback.
Okay, I don't have a key to that door, I'll call the cops.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, okay. You have one here then. I have one of the other doors.
Gene said he did too. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
We will come back into session, having just completed the 10-minute executive session. No action, no binding action was taken within the executive session, and we will return to the agenda. I'm gonna go off script just a bit. Tomorrow, we will be interviewing our candidates or applicants for our city administrator position. We have the option, well, I think we have the option of going into executive session at a stated time and then setting that time to encompass the entirety of the process and go back out, come out of executive session. The alternative is to go into executive
Pull your
session.
mic off for a second.
It's off.
Oh, that's why it's.
Hold it up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go into executive session when we get ready to interview one of the applicants. Come out of executive session when we're completed that interview, and then do it again, and then do it again. I'm asking Eric if he has a preference. The one, if you're wanting to be here for the beginning and the end, would only make you be here twice. The other would have you here, gone, here, gone, here, gone.
I think, to be honest with you, the here gone is kind of silly. The journalistic, if we were going to be investigative reporters out of this, is that theoretically you have to name who's going to be in the executive sessions. And so we would get the names of the applicants by who you did the motions on. I don't think we plan to do that, so it doesn't bother me. Technically, you have to come back into open session at the very end somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But as long as you don't take any action, and we trust that if you say you're not going to take any action, you won't take any action. So we probably would just not show up. But if you then take an action after we reach that gentleman's agreement, we would be very perturbed.
Well, yeah, and rightly so, I understand that.
But I don't think we need to do anything Mickey Mouse to technically.
I'm not going to put you in the position of arguing for Mickey Mouse. But I'm going to defer to the city administrator's preference.
Well, it's probably easier just to adjourn the first time and then come out at the end.
Yeah,
Without doing it individually,
yeah.
if that's agreeable.
So you're not arguing in favor of Mickey Mouse?
I have before, though.
Tell you what, Eric, if tomorrow we decide to do anything different than what I'm proposing is we go into executive session and we're in that session for 5 hours or whatever it is, then we come back out, go back into regular session and adjourn. If we decide to do anything different than that, we will let you know well in advance as to what we're going to do.
It would be certainly acceptable to us.
Okay, very good. So now I'm going to move to adjourn this city council meeting to 3:45 p.m. tomorrow, April 22nd, 2025. And at that point in time, we will likely go into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, specifically city administrator candidates. And the executive session will be to protect the privacy interests of the applicants. But at this point, the motion is simply to adjourn this meeting to 3:45 tomorrow. Is there a second?
I second that.
Motion and second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Mark, it's unanimous. And at this point, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn this meeting.
I will second. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.